Hello, Lynn Watts here with Wyeth Your Dog Books. And today I would like to talk about empathy. In particular, I'm going to be talking about how empathy is connected to resilience. So, we're talking about two very important traits in the life of any any person, but especially in children and children who have perhaps experienced some very traumatic or very difficult, challenging circumstances. So, first of all, let's just talk about empathy and what that is. And empathy is really the ability to understand, to connect with, to respond to the feelings of others. So it goes beyond sympathizing. It's not just feeling sorry for someone, it's really going beyond that and actually being able to understand on a much deeper level what's going on. What about resilience? Resilience simply means the ability to overcome and cope with challenges. And certainly, we all need to learn lots of ways to do that. And empathy is actually a trait that helps a child develop resilience. So, before I get into some of the things that we can do to help a child develop empathy, let me just mention that if you are looking for an entire lesson on empathy, you want to teach that either in a small group or in a classroom, I do have a lesson on growing in empathy in my small group guide. And it is set up with an icebreaker to begin with, discussion questions, how to teach empathy, student journal to help students journal about what they're learning and how to practice empathy. So that's a small group guide. If you're looking for a lesson that you can do in an entire classroom that is developed for different grade levels, I have uh, a lesson on empathy in my school counselor book of lesson plans, volume 2. And of course, all of the lesson plans in this book are aligned with ASCA standards. They all have discussion questions, essential questions. They have books that you can read, picture books that you could read in the classroom. And then they have a pre-test, post-test, and they have activities that you can do. And they're divided up according to either lower grades or upper grades. So there's a lot of variety and a lot of possibilities in terms of empathy. So now that we've defined what empathy is and how it's relevant for resilience, let me just say kind of quickly what empathy is not. And so I think it's important to emphasize that empathy is not trying to change somebody. It's not about trying to fix somebody's problem. It's not about taking on somebody's emotional burden. So, adding that to your own so that you become, embroiled in that. It's not agreeing with everything somebody says or feeling responsible for another person's happiness or even rescuing somebody who's struggling. It's more, and this is actually the title of the lesson in the lesson plan book, it's more being able to experience what it's like to walk in someone's shoes and then be able to provide some sort of uh, assistance during that time. Now, what kind of assistance is empathy? Well, empathy, you can really divide it into three different areas. One is affective, which simply means recognizing how somebody's feeling and being able to share that feeling with them. So it may simply mean saying, I'm sorry. I understand how sad this can make you. I understand how this feels. All right. So that's empathy. There's also cognitive empathy, which is more understanding on a very different level how somebody's frustrated, what the situation is, how the problem can have developed. So it's more of a cognitive kind of thing. This, of course, goes along with the affective as well. And then the final type, or the third type of empathy, is a behavioral kind of empathy, which means taking action. So that means more of recognizing what someone needs given the situation. So asking if you could help. Sometimes it simply means being able to sit with someone in the midst of a lot of emotional problems or situations. So it doesn't always mean an active kind of behavior. It might mean something that is more just being there for someone, being a good listener could be a behavioral type of empathy. So there's really three different types, and you can teach these to students using the word care, with each one of the letters representing something. This is actually in the lesson on empathy in the small group guide. And so the C in care then stands for console. It means saying you're sorry. All right. I'm sorry that happened. I understand how that feels. The A can stand for assist, which would be more of the behavioral empathy. How can I help? The R is more of a reassurance, letting someone know that that they are not alone, that other people experience this sort of thing, that we're in this together. So a kind of reassurance, you're safe here. And the E is empathize, which might mean being able to say, I understand the feeling because that happened to me too. I understand what that's like. I understand the situation because I too have been in that situation. So using the word care can be an interesting and effective way to teach, especially older students, some of the dynamics of empathy. So there's a lot more that you can, of course, talk about and teach about empathy. And the below the video, I am going to link both of the books that have the lesson plans, and I'll also link the blog posts that I've done on empathy and resilience, so that if you want to read more and find more examples of how to teach that, then you can find it there in the post. So as always, thanks so much for listening, and thanks for all of the things that you do to improve students' lives.